Hey, do you need a pump for your PCP air rifle or maybe an air pistol? I've got two single stage compressors. Both of these have a digital cutoff. Both of them will run on 110 volts, I think 240, and 12 volts. What I'm going to do today, and this is something that's good to do when you get one of these, you put a plug in your line, and then you see how long it takes to pump up to whatever pressure you want. See how long it takes it to pump it up. And if you're ever having problems in the future, you can do this, repeat the same test with the same hoses and everything, and see if it's still taking the same amount of time. Is it just your imagination that it's taking longer, or is it really taking longer? Well, if you write these numbers down, write down the pressure and the time it takes to fill up just the hose, then you'll know if anything has changed on your compressor. So for right now, I'm going to try these two out. I'm going to set them both at the same pressure. Give me a second to get this set up. We'll do a test with just a little inline filter that came with it. Came with this one, I think. The gold one did. And then I will pump this up, which has the volume of some of your smaller PCP tube type rifles. And yes, I know my desk is a mess, but if I wait to clean this up, I won't make this video. So let's get started on this. I'm going to plug both of these things in. The compressors are very loud. I'm going to throw some music up or something. I'll speed the timer up, but let me get this all set up and I'll be right back. All right, I'm going to go over these real quick. These will not set to the same pressure. I wanted to go around 3600. This one will hit 3600. This one only hits 3625. Well, I'll say only, it's more, but I can't get them to the exact same pressure. This one, the fan for the power supply is, as soon as you plug it in, it's active. This one is also, but it's much quieter. This one, if you want to activate the cooling fan, you have to actually hit the button to turn on the cooling fan. This one, the cooling fan is automatic, so as it starts to heat up, the cooling fan comes on. They both have protection circuits in them. You have to relieve the pressure on these before you start them. They won't start under pressure, and that's, you use these two valves right here to do this. So what I'm going to do, since there's no pressure on the system, I can go ahead and close the valve before I start them. This one, the valve is a little harder to get a seal on for some reason, but I'm going to try this and we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to start the compressor. I'll start the fan first, and then I'm going to mute the audio a little bit and start the timers. So that was about 36 seconds. And you have to bleed it right here before you can disconnect your gun or anything else. And I don't even know if this is picking me up over this noise. All right, I'm going to switch over to the other compressor. And I'm going to do the same thing with the same hose. So that was, and I had to fumble with it, but 41, 42 seconds, somewhere right along in there. I will bleed this one off, and we'll do the test with a small cylinder. It's very loud in here. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the plug or the deadhead, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to put this in the end of the cylinder. So now we will be filling up this little filter, and actually this is a filter, but fairly high volume filter. We'll see how long it takes to fill each one of these up on each of the compressors.
Well, I just blew a seal or an O-ring about the time the thing cut off. So that timed out real well.
All right. I just so happen to have an O-ring collection that appears to be a number 114 O-ring. And I'm going to also say it doesn't appear that there's an adequate recess in the body of this. So I'm probably going to put that on a lathe and machine this a little differently than the way it was supplied from the factory. That aside, I'm going to try this test with the other compressor. Okay, everything's going here. The fan on this one is automatic. Same thing, we're going to go with this one is 3600 PSI. I got to turn it off and reset it once. Okay.
So that fan comes on by itself. So let me start this. In my
So I have to tell you, I'm a little surprised that this one was faster. I don't know if this O-ring was leaking during the first test and just finally blew out. It doesn't take much of a leak with these single stage compressors to slow them down. Nonetheless, they're in close agreement with each other time wise. Now I'm going to also say, filling this cylinder up, this cylinder is actually bigger than the cylinder on my Notos, and this was going from 0. Also keep in mind, I run that in line, so when I fill up the Notos, I have to fill the filter up before I can fill the rifle up. So this is going to be in addition to filling up the rifle. You don't run a big filter like this, it's not going to take you as long. I'm not filling the rifle from empty, but I am filling the filter from empty, so that's going to count. The other thing I want to show you real quick is the digital readout on these, and this is probably bothering somebody, so I'm gonna do everybody a favor and pull that off. I'll show you the gauges on these. I like the gauge setup on this one better. This one is okay. The problem I have with it is the viewing angle. Normally I would want to be over here looking on the top of the gauge, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let me grab my phone. I would want to be up here looking at the gauge the way the numbers read out, but you can't really see it from that angle. From this angle, it's almost, the display is almost blacked out. From this angle, you can see it okay, but I don't know why the viewing angle is so skewed. If the gauge were turned around and you were reading it from this side, the numbers would be right side up. It would be okay, I guess. On this one, the viewing angle is where I think it should be. Much easier to see. But this one doesn't go in 25 PSI increments. This one goes in 1000 PSI. So the next, if I try to set this, next step up is, on this one, I don't remember. Okay, so go up so we're at 3770. So it makes these kind of oddball jumps. 3440, 3625. 3625 happens to be one that I need. It'll do 4350. So that works out fine for both of the guns that I normally fill up. But it's just, you know, it's kind of odd the way it kind of hops around. This one is in 1000 PSI increments. So you go 3600, and then the next one is 37, 38. So I don't have any 3625, no 3650. And then when I get up here, I'm at 4300. I don't have a 4350. All things considered, these are decent little single stage for what they are and for the price that you pay for them. The orange one is not currently available and has not been available for a period of time. I don't know if it will be again. There's several that look just like it. This one is basically an unbranded version, but I like the digital gauge. It cuts off at the right place wherever it's set. That's where it cuts off. This one, the white one, is the same way, and the name is on it, Prytech, and it is currently available. And prices fluctuate. I'll put links to both of these, and you can check and see if the orange one is available. You can check and see what the current price is on this one. Kind of go from there. If anybody's interested in seeing what's inside these, let me know, and I'll tear them open and take a look. You know, I'm sure it voids my warranty, but you know, stuff happens, right? So if anybody made it to the end of this, I appreciate it. I'm gonna throw a video up over here that you might like. YouTube's gonna throw one down here that you might like. I'll catch you in one of those, or I'll catch you down the road.